Hello, my beautiful badgers. Messi Coda back again with another live dev interview. This time it's with Staggart Creations. I know, Staggart. It took me a long time to realise that their name was Staggart. I thought it was like some guy called Steve Staggart. Steve Staggart here to help you with Unity assets. Their assets are beautiful. It's a wonderful stylized artistic style they have, but they've also got some amazing post-processing effects which are available currently on a Unity sale on the asset store. That's right, 50% off for post-processing effects. Now, this interview took place back in 2020. A lot's happened since then, and their assets just keep on getting bigger and better. So sit back, enjoy, and I'll see you all in a second. Everyone at home around the world, give a warm and messy welcome to Staggart Creations, otherwise known as Jim Staggart, only joking, Staggart Creations, the masters of Unity. Welcome to the stream, buddy.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you, especially as I've tried to showcase one of your assets in the past, and I did a bit of a pig's ear of it.
A pig what? Is that like a British term?
It's you got a pig's ear and a dog's dinner.
Yeah.
A pig's
I've
ear.
never heard of that before.
It was your fantasy adventure, and let me turn off the microphone on that one. I was struggling at getting it to work. We got it to work in the end, but I took a bit of time to do it. So as such, as a way of making an apology, inviting you on the stream so you can show us how to do it properly. But not only that, you're not just a one-trick pony. You got loads of really different assets that you make. You know, like I didn't even know you did the wire thing. What? That's nothing to do with stylized art, is it? Who are you?
Not.
Are you a programmer? Are you an artist? What are you? Tell us, Jim Staggart.
Well, I suppose I'm both, but the official term I gave myself was technical environment artist, because I started out as an environment artist with a programming background, and I kind of naturally transitioned into a combination of the two. But I suppose the wire builder is kind of an example of how I'm more transitioning to a traditional programmer, I suppose, more in the sense of tools programming. It's just something I enjoy doing the most, because quite frankly, art is kind of hard, takes a lot of time. It's something I still enjoy doing it, but not in the same capacity as like programming and just making tools.
I want to say, isn't everything hard though?
Maybe at the start, but things tend to get easier. I think that's especially the case with programming. You just build a code base and stuff basically comes free for your next project. But I started publishing in 2016 when I was still in school, because graduation was fastly approaching, and I did not like the idea of getting like a full-time job, just 40 hours a day working at basically someone else's project.
Buddy, I need to put a pause on that now.
Well, come.
All right, it's the year is 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Which you put an asset on the asset store while you were still in school.
Yeah. Well, there was plenty of time for that, actually. And it was, at the time, it was sort of simple enough. It was the water shader. It's the first thing I did. It's actually that in 2016, I kind of mingled my school projects with like shaders and vegetation, because that's what I enjoyed doing the most, and it's something I really wanted to learn. So I actually started on the fantasy adventure environment somewhere in 2016. And when I posted the water shader I made for it, which I originally intended to include in the package, a lot of people expressed the interest of seeing it as like a separate package. So I decided to do that first. And fortunately, that was quite successful.
That was a good idea.
Yeah, it was, definitely. It was a good foresight for after graduation. So I doubled down on making the fantasy adventure environment. It was basically my graduation project. So I sneakily combined doing school while also just working on my own company. And by the time I graduated, it was out, and fingers crossed, it did quite well beyond my expectations, which meant I could just keep doing it, working on other assets, and that's still the case today. I'm very thankful for it because it's the perfect job for me.
So hang
It's
on,
not 40 hours a week.
when we say school, countries all over the world have different definitions. You know, like you've got school, then people say college when they mean school. How old were you in 2016 making the fantasy adventure environment plus stylized water shader?
I think 24 or 25. And I think the closest definition would be or college. Yeah, I'm not sure. Something along those lines, at least. It wasn't high school. Let's just say that.
All right, cool. So like you weren't like 11 years old, sitting
No,
there, the Mozart of the Unity world.
no. When I was 11, I was playing outside and doing other things.
doing the things that you should be doing, seeing the
Of
sunlight.
course.
And then that day came when you discovered C# and your world fell apart.
Well, it went wide open in some aspects, but it definitely clicked. Yeah.
How old were you when you started doing programming? Like learning.
Boy, I think I started in like Unreal Tournament, like the first Unreal Engine.
Good
But basically,
man.
I was just copy pasting other people's code because I didn't understand any of it. I don't know if that counts as
No, it
programming.
does. That's what I do that now, and I stick the videos on YouTube and pretend I know what I'm talking about. So it counts.
All right, well, let's just say that counts then. I think 12-ish or something.
When were you when your mind clicked that you're like, oh yeah, this is the logic. I'm understanding the pattern that is programming. So
It's
rather
funny
than
that you mentioned that because I do remember exactly one of those moments. But I was making a WordPress theme, like web programming, and I made my first like if statement, and it changed like the whole dynamic of the website. It's like, oh man, I can just put anything in here, and it's like conditional based on stuff, and just so many connections. I suppose that's when it clicked because after that I started pursuing programming. I'm not sure if everyone has those kind of moments, but
I remember mine.
yeah,
I remember I was on a Spectrum 16K.
a Spectrum 16K. That sounds retro.
The memory on the computer was 16 kilobytes. That's the RAM that it had.
That's definitely
Okay,
retro.
so
Nice.
it's pretty old. And I was annoying story. My brother got given the computer when he was 4 years old, I think, and immediately he started programming. Like he was making holiday games, like text-based, like a text-based adventure. Where do you want to go on holiday? You type in the number for the choice of the town, and then how many nights are you staying there, and then tells you how much the hotel cost you, and random events of what happened on your holiday. Now he was
It's very practical.
yeah, and he was about 4. I know you remember this now because you kept bragging about it for the next 30 years. He he was about 4 or 5 when he did that. He was a git, and I, being younger, by the time I was old enough to play with the keyboard, my games were mash the keys, the graphics, because the keys were made out of rubber as well on these devices. Mash the keys as hard as you can until the screen is full up with things, and then move the cursors up and down. And there was a time when we were reading through these books that you're supposed to just copy the code written in the books, and then you've got a game. And exactly like you're saying, that it was the if. And it was because these devices was basic, Spectrum Basic, and you've got numbers of the line. So line 1 is print hello world kind of thing. Line 2 go to line 1, and you're in a loop for the rest of your life. So it was that kind of thing. So it was like if blah 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 go to line 42, and then I realized I can actually make things happen not in the order that I wrote them down. And my brain just went, oh.
Yeah, the if statement it's a very powerful thing.
I want my kid. My kids are 5 and 6 now, and I want to get them to code at that age.
But they can do what's that thing called with the blocks? Maybe it's just called blocks.
That
Scratch, I
Roblox
think.
thing? Or you mean
No,
like
no,
the physical
no,
blocks?
no, 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 no. Not anything like Minecraft or Lego, but I mean like node-based thingies. You click them together. I think it's called Scratch. It's like a web-based programming thing. They teach it in schools as well.
Oh, I want
Could
that.
be a good entry.
I'll have to play around with that. Talking about node-based stuff and things that just connect together, feeding into the wire builder.
Segway.
I like that. I was just saying that I didn't realize that you had made this, and I felt bad. And then I looked at the release date, and it was only October this year. Well, last year actually, because we're in 2020 now. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year.
Why?
Yeah, it was quite
Why did
recent.
you make it?
I needed this for well, that's actually the project you see in the screenshot. It's a game called Lake, which I'm working on as basically as the technical environment artist. But one thing we really needed for set dressing, but also for player navigation, was these power lines. And modeling all these power lines in like Maya and then exporting it to Unity without knowing where your buildings are or how your terrain is aligned, that's just a nightmare. So I wanted something that I could use to just build it right in Unity. And there was one plugin that did this. It was like $5. It was half broken, but it was so terribly slow. It was just immensely slow, like one frame per second in the editor. And you basically couldn't delete anything without just recreating the entire wire network. So it kind of put a pressure on me to, I needed these power lines, but there was no way to do this. And it created the necessity to create like a quick tool to do this.
A quick tool? How long did it take you?
It's a good question. I think, well, the thing is that the tool itself, usable for me, I think was like 2 weeks. But I spent like a month or 1.5 months on creating like the user interaction where you can actually drag out wires and it automatically snaps to available connector points. Like the whole interface and the mouse clicking events and stuff. That took a lot of time just because I wanted it to be super polished. Because let's be honest, it's not super impressive what it does. It creates wires. So I wanted to sort of compensate that by making the editor as nice to use as possible.
Hang on. I was like, what do you mean? It's not super impressive. It is super impressive, especially as he did it in a couple of weeks.
Wires.
I've imported in the demo scene.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the project and I've got a demo scene in it. I'm using
that's one.
2019.3. Let me share my screen with you on Discord so you can see what I'm up to.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
And I've got no idea what the lake is, and I just went into Google and I typed in lake. There's a game on Steam called Lake.
That should be the one.
Set in 1986 Oregon.
That's definitely the one. Yeah.
And I want to just make this big and click over. This looks lovely.
You think? Well, thank you. We did spend a lot of time on this. We recently acquired a publisher actually, so it's definitely coming out on consoles as well, which is super awesome.
What's it about?
Well, you basically play as the character you see driving the car here, who is a postwoman. She used to live in this town, but she went away to pursue a big-time job. But now she's coming back to replace her father as the mailman. And by doing so, she comes across people she used to know as a little kid and vice versa. And by delivering the mail and talking to these people, a narrative unfolds, which you can follow. And won't let loose a lot about it. It's not a mystery, per se.
Yeah, no spoilers.
No.
Does she murder them all? She murders them all and wears their skin as an outfit and then takes on their identity and swims in the lake.
That's an Easter egg. You can only do that through console commands. I'm surprised you found out.
That's disturbing. How many people are working on this?
See, at least 5 people full time, and we have some people for, of course, the voice casting, voice acting, and the sound and animations. So I think all in all, freelancers and study people together, I think 10.
Dang.
I started with 2 people, but we kind of grew. The scope grew, but it's getting it's shaping up nicely for sure.
So is it?
I really enjoyed working on it as well.
So when's it really? It really Q4 2020. Okay, so is there no demos that we can sit and play, or?
No, not yet. I mean, the release date is placeholder, I suppose. When it's finished.
I like it when it's finished. Well, put me down definitely if you need any beta testers.
Nice.
People. I'm good at finding bugs.
There's definitely a few.
Alona Wolf says in chat, Staggart makes one of my favorite assets, a post-processing effects pack. And we've got Tech Trader saying that they've gotten some nice character shading.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Let me pop over to the asset store and just click on your store page. If you do an exclamation mark SC effects in chat, you'll get a link to the post-processing effects pack from Staggart Creations. What is your post-processing effects pack?
Well, if people are familiar with the post-processing stack, which released about 2 years ago, it was Unity's answer, I suppose, to Unreal Engine's post-processing framework, where it allows you to create like local volumes, so that when you move inside of it, certain effects start to come into play. For instance, so you can create like an icy region where frost starts growing over the screen, or you can create like death zones where the screen just turns into blood, or whatchamacallit. But I basically piggybacked on the post-processing stack and made any effect I could possibly conceive or wanted for myself. I particularly used the fog and sun shafts effect for almost any project now. But it's pretty extensive, I would say, and it's mostly community driven based on what people want to have, because most of the things people use in a practical sense, or I usually see as useful, so I'll just add these. But I think generally speaking, it has a lot of like retro style effects, like pixelizing and posterizing. Like I said, the environment effects, and definitely a lot of feedback effects. So this is like the volume system. I don't know if I'm in sync or not, but that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I've got the video playing from the asset store.
Mm-hmm.
Available on the Unity asset store from Jim Staggart Creations.
Oh, it would be such a cool last name.
I can't believe I honestly thought that's what it meant for like months. I'm telling you.
Well, I don't think anyone knows it, but it's actually a phonetic play on its tech art, like technical art, Staggart. And coincidentally, the logo is also a stag, and the word Staggart also means, I think it was like an adult red deer or something. So it's kind of like a triangle of meanings that form together. I couldn't possibly think of a better name. Super happy about it.
That is deep, mate. Now I don't feel so bad about being so stupid.
No, that's quite all right. I could have been called John Staggart for all you know.
So you just need to get this to work. You download the standard post-processing effect from Unity, add your pack in, and then away you go.
Yeah, it opens up an installer, and you click next, and the rest is pretty straightforward.
We've got how many included effects do you have? Have you got like does it say a list?
I
33
think,
additional screen
yeah.
effects. There you go. What happens if I click on one of these links? I'm going to click
It
on
takes
the
you to the documentation with like, I think every effect has
Oh,
like screenshots at least.
dang. You went all out with the documentation, didn't you, mate?
I know it takes a lot of time, but it's the kind of stuff that just stays there forever for like the next few years. So it's probably worthwhile doing.
Wow. Isn't that going to be a bit of a pain when you update and you change things drastically? You've got to go back and change like 32 pages on there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if I just put a nice little realization for a couple of years down the line for you. Yes, but by then you'll be a millionaire and you can pay somebody else to do it.
Oh, I'm not sure that would ever happen, but it would be nice.
Dang, these are great. Oh, we're gonna have to do a review on this. But we're gonna play about while we're doing stuff on stream.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just go back into Unity, and then we're gonna share your screen, and then you can show me some cool, sexy stuff that you've got on. Now, going back to the wire builder, before I got distracted with all the funky stuff that you're up to.
This is actually a good point for an experiment because I basically designed this whole thing around what I thought was logical and right. So I really just want to watch you and just try and figure out naturally because you should be able to.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen with you on Discord.
All right.
Alright, so I'm just... Bear in mind, I've loaded it up in Unity 2019.3.
Yeah, does work.
It does, it's fine, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I never used Unity 2019.3.
That's quite all right. It's
So-
not, on the surface, it's not very different.
Big Gaming is in saying happy Saturday. Happy Saturday, Big Gaming. I'm here with the legendary Staggart Creation, who started publishing Unity assets on the Asset Store when he was just 11 years old. That's
I suppose we can extrapolate that far. It did begin somewhere, yeah.
that is a story that we've got going on now. It's Darius, how you doing? So that's okay. How would I add? Is there a parent on this? Don't tell me nothing. Don't tell me nothing. See if
Okay, I'll give you one tiny hint. There's a button in your scene view window.
There's a button. And...
Oh, not any. You have to select something.
Oh, okay. All right. I can see this edit wires thing. Hold down Control. Edit. Control Shift to delete. All right. I want to add. If I add another pole, how do I add another pole? Do I? So I just add. All right, give me one. Do I just make another pole, and then like duplicate like that?
You don't have to do anything in the inspector. Everything happens in the scene view.
Okay. Edit wire. What have I done? Oh. Okay. Oh, I just okay. That was.
All right. Well, that does work, but there's a different way to go about it. Try holding down Control and dragging out from the base of the utility pole.
Oh, whoa!
There you go.
Okay. That's pretty
Basically
funky.
what you did. Yeah, right?
Holy. And it's only let me stick it on the ground. Alright, let's make this. Let's go crazy.
No, sorry. It needs like a surface to work with.
Alright, that's big.
There you go.
There you go. Now it's snowing. Snowing in Colorado. Can you add colliders to the wire for maybe birds or walking on them? Asked Sengoku.
if the wires are generated as meshes, which I think they are,
Mesh
because they can
renderer
either
we
be
got here.
generated as meshes or line renderers.
So we got
But
a
then you could
mesh.
just add like
Yeah.
a mesh collider to it. I actually started working on a like sort of extension where you can procedurally add or like hang specific meshes off of wires, like streetlights, for instance, or signs and such.
Sag amount. I'm quite saggy. How do I make it not so saggy? Wire type power line.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Okay, so it's not so heavy. Therefore, it's not making it sag. Make it big, thick. Oh, look how thick that is. Alright. Radial segments. Is that to increase the quality of it so it looks smoother? Okay.
Yeah, that's basically the circular segments.
And then, damn. It'll add shoes. That is always makes me sad and quite a little bit freaked out when I see shoes hanging from the wires.
Yeah, that's a fun Saturday night activity, but personally, I prefer to keep my shoes. I don't have that many spares.
Alright, how do I... So that's okay. I'm by turning this. Okay, if I rotate, how would I? Nope, hang on. Rotate that like that. Suppose you wouldn't do that, would you? That's. Whoa! Look at that! Oh wow, I can make it go crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can cross wires if you want to.
Wow. Alright, so what's wrong with this pack?
As far as I know, nothing.
Come on, there's gotta be something. What am I there you go. Okay.
What did you do? Oh. Well, that is one thing. If you delete things outside of the editor doesn't know what you did, basically. So in order to actually delete things properly, you have to hold down Shift, and like all the blue thingies turn red. And when you click on it, it actually deletes. See, now it's saying missing connectors and stuff.
So I deleted it, and then I Control Z'd. It came back, but my wires went away.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So hold down Control to do stuff. And I'm going to duplicate you. You go over there. And then I am shocked, okay, that I'm able to just without reading any documentation. Okay, you give me a couple of clues. Get around. Oh, nice. I'm able to break things. Beautiful. I wonder what happens if I... Oh, you go flicks it back. It's like, no, you try to be clever. You try to be clever. But I'm putting you back where you belong.
Yeah, it just regenerates it, whatever.
Cool. All right, let's have a look and see what we've got. Chat. Sanya coming in with that's what she said. I'm assuming that's to do with the sag amount. Sanya. So for an example, you can use something like Enviro. Push the wires down with wind. Ooh.
Technically, yes. The wire, like the material that's attached to the wire, does have wind values. But wind in Unity is kind of a tricky thing because Unity itself doesn't have like a native wind system, which forces everyone to make their own like wind controlling scripts. And it was kind of a pain point because I didn't want to add just for this package like another wind adapter. So it is technically possible to control it through external voices, but I just wanted to wait and see until anyone complains about it or requests it heavily.
Oh,
so far, this is one person.
You've put yourself in trouble now. You've got yourself, right. Yeah, you got yourself in trouble. So, actually, one thing I forgot to ask everyone: how is the audio? are we both around the same audio level? And I were like 2 hours in, and I'm asking the question. How do we sound? Shall we sing? Shall we sing a duet to see if our audios are around the same level? Looks good to me on OBS. You sound good. Both of you sound the same. Brilliant.
Nice.
Nice. Other questions we had. I think in the hood, shoes on wires represents a dead person. Actually, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's
Seriously?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I'm not that street smart, apparently.
And I always think of it because whenever you see a small child's shoe, I always think of like that's depressing. What is a small child? What is a child's shoe doing off the foot of the child near the road? Let's go morbid while we're doing a live stream. So yeah, I always just look at it and go, that there cannot be a good ending to that story, and then I'm depressed for the rest of the day. Messi's breaking things. Yes, I am breaking things. Can you use this for a working ski lift?
Define working ski lift.
A ski lift
I think
that works.
You mean like something that follows the wires?
Yes.
It is possible, but sometimes the start point and the end point of the wire, they're like in reversed based on based on the sequence you create the wires in. So if you do it like in one long line, then technically yes, there is an API to access like the entire network, but it's not something I've ever tried.
I'm intrigued now. I actually am thinking, because all this white snow ground here has got me thinking. So you would have the wires going from what my brain remembers on the ski lift, and then you would have hanging from the ski lift the ski cart, and the weight of the ski cart would rock on the pivot.
Oh no, I like that. It's something I decided to just focus on from the beginning, and that is that the wires, they don't contain any collision or physics events or anything. They're purely meant as like decorative items, as like telephone wires in a city, or like power lines through a rural forest or something like that. The animation they have, that's also shader based. So on the CPU side, you can only read out essentially the position of the wire, or like a point along the wire from start to end. But that's as far as it goes.
What happens when I click play?
Nothing.
I like it.
I don't think this scene even has a camera. Oh, there you go.
I want to have a ski lift now.
You can do it. I believe in you.
I'm gonna do this. Me and Sengoku, we're gonna get drunk, and we're gonna make a ski lift. Sengoku, it's a date. Big Gamer saying, if anyone can break it, Messi can. Thank you for that, Faith. Gagabell's in chat. Hey Gagabell, how you feeling, pal? Great to have you back in. Imagine what you could do with your game testing it. I break a lot of things. Would you still want me playing Lake?
For sure. Like, people that break things, that's always helpful.
I like that.
People are going to break stuff anyhow, but it's just a difference that some people tell you about it and others don't.
I hate people who are beta testers and never give any feedback. But that's pretty much me. I give a load of feedback at the start, and then a load of time goes by and I completely forget that I'm supposed to be a beta tester. I like the fact that when I'm turning it here, it rotates it. I like that. What's the most number of Telegraph polls that you've had?
I don't know, maybe 100, 150 in total. I mean, you can go crazy. You're just limited by your PC basically in terms of performance. They're just meshes in the end, so there's nothing really happening if you add more or less.
And there's nothing restricting you to just use the standard LOD groups and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. I really am going to
Well,
break
I'm
it
happy
though.
to see that you figured it out.
And I'm just going to sit for hours now. I can't believe I was sitting there manually for for that 3 seconds. Oh, how did I double? I seem to double. How did I do that? I don't know how I did that.
Me neither.
I found it. I found it. Oh, brilliant. Okay, I can replicate it. Damn it. Damn it. Come on, I can replicate it. Come on, let's do it. Damn it. Oh, my robot is saying, get me to Berlin. Beep, beep, beep. Where was that? What did the robot say? Help Missy get to Berlin. Where did the robot say that? Oh,
Did you
help.
want
There
to
you
go
go.
to Unite
I
2 years ago?
Well, that was TwitchCon, but there's Twitch going on in Amsterdam.
A
This year.
TwitchCon?
TwitchCon's in Amsterdam this year.
Nice.
Do you go to the Netherlands much?
I think so. I think about every day when I wake up, actually. I live there, of course.
Because I wasn't going to go to TwitchCon because I couldn't find any accommodation.
In Amsterdam?
Yeah, near the event that's cheap and safe.
Well, that's usually the case, right? I think in the center of Amsterdam, you can either get a nice hotel or you can go to a hostel, which is filled with drunken younglings until like 4 a.m. Very specific because it happened. Or you just need to go out of town a bit and travel. But fortunately for me, I can just take the train.
Hang on, let me get us distracted. Here we go. It's in May. TwitchCon is coming to Amsterdam. See you in May. There's a guy there with his purple dressing gown. So if I do make it to the Netherlands, I will knock on your door and bring a pint of English beer with me.
I would love that.
No, you wouldn't.
I do like English beer. And
really?
You seem nice.
Really?
Of course.
Come now.
I tried I think Guinness like 1 year ago.
That's Irish.
Random pub. Is it? It was in London, so I count it as. But it is Irish, yeah.
Yeah, you've just insulted a whole nation.
Oops.
There we go. Let me go back to the questions in chat. In the SC post effects, is there an outline filter like the HA video? And
HA video?
The AHA video. AHA. Oh, the AHA video. Okay. So you know.
Oh yeah, the music video.
Yeah.
Sort of. I mean, in that particular video clip, every frame is has different offsetting kind of lines. It doesn't do that, but it does have an edge detection shader, and it also has a sketch shader, which overlays like a sketchy texture over the entire world, like all the geometry.
Oh, cool.
So those two combined could have that effect, but you would still miss like the from frame to frame sketchy sort of thing.
Oh wow! Dang.
Sketchy, right?
That is lovely. Holy moly! So, hang on, my brain's trying to comprehend. Are you
Mhm.
just you're just making profiles based on the unities, or are you actually did you add any additional code to this?
Oh, definitely. Like every effect has its own script and shader, and that's just something you can add to a profile,
That's
which has its
awesome.
own settings and such.
So how long did that take to build this library of 33?
Well, I think when it launched, I think I started with like 15, which I made over the Christmas break. And the last one I added was, I think, in May or something. So overall, I would say about a year or more,
Wow.
a little bit more. But some of the effects are deceivingly simple. In the end, they're just shaders, and some shaders are a lot more easier than others. I think the effect I worked on most was the fog effect, because it's arguably the most complex one.
What did you like with performance?
Doesn't really do much. I've never really noticed much of a difference, and technically the shader isn't doing anything groundbreaking like a volumetric or like or I mean atmospheric scattering and such. Um, well, this is kind of scattering, but it's basically a copy of the bloom effect inserted into the fog.
If this
And
is
there's
your
one thing
first
that's
time with
not
us,
shown
let me extend a
in the
personal invitation for you
documentation,
to drag out your
which
brushes
no,
and
I should add,
paints and paint along with
is
us and
that the
show
fog can
everything
also
you
blend
enjoyed.
in with the skybox, which creates a very natural transition into the horizon. And if your skybox has like atmospheric scattering kind of properties, then it'll automatically translate into the fog. And that's also what I've used in Lake as well, which basically gives, for a very small performance cost, gives you very good looking but very fake atmospheric effects.
Bang. We're
So
gonna
it's
have to play
definitely
with
one of my
this.
favorite.
Have you've
Well,
got you've got it
in
on your
the
PC on your build that you can share your
well,
screen.
in the stylus grass demo, I'm actually using a lighting system which I never released because it's just too complex to support. But it also has this fog effect built into it, and it has a skybox that does fake scattering thingamajigs. Did you manage to get it set up
I
properly?
did. I'm just loading it up now. We just had a
Nice.
raid from Irish John Gaming. Irish John, we gave a shout out to you earlier. You weren't even in the house. And I'm talking with Staggart Creation, who loves that famous English beer, Guinness.
Oh, you're throwing me under the bus, but I do love it. It tastes like very dark bread, and I'm enamored. It doesn't taste as good out of the can. You really have to be in an Irish pub to get it.
A good Irish pub in England, drinking that.
Hmm.
It tastes like dark bread.
It does very much. Don't you? Have you ever had it?
Yeah, but I've never been a big Guinness fan. Um, and Irish John's gonna hate me because I'm more of a Murphy's man.
Murphy's. We have a lot of Irish pubs called Murphy's, but I did not know it was a beer.
Hang on, let me find you. Hang on, let me go. If anything inappropriate types comes in when I type in the word Murphy's. Big Gamey says it tastes like cold gravy.
That's not appealing at all. I can see why you're not a fan.
Wow.
Oh, it's a stout, of course. I don't think you can call it a beer in that case.
No, it's not a beer. But because you're Dutch, so that's the terminology is going to be. Yeah. Is there a nice picture?
Oh, it's so dark. I would probably love this.
There you go.
Yeah.
That is a pint of Murphy's. Although, to be fair, in all the pubs I've gone to, I've never got it that dark. It was like a grey brown.
That's darker than cola. That's crazy.
Look, Irish John says, "You guys are fucking dead to me." Crazy Vogue says, "Get some Belgian beer and just stop thinking about it." It does look like a cola. It does look like a cola. I tried it in the can and everyone said it's different on draft. So I went in Dublin and
just the same. It's a bit gamey. You went all the way to Dublin just to see if it still tasted like cold gravy when it comes out of draft. That is dedication. That is dedication to find out if it really is just the same. Fair play. It's not the same. There's going to be an argument going on now. We've got what have we unleashed on everyone in chat? While we've got the arguments going on, I've loaded up the grass demo project that you sent over to me, and if we've got a lot of stuff that you've got in here. Where is the scene?
Oh, it's actually in the 3D game kit scenes. And it's the template scene. I just started working on that and never bothered to rename it or move it. And all goes right, it shouldn't explode.
If all goes right, it never goes right on this stream. You told me you've seen some of these streams before, hence you would know everything breaks. What is this? Oh, wow. Now, there's no reason, let's click on the chat, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to make this. You would just have a prefab with lots of those little node things on there, wouldn't you? The points.
Yeah, you could make it, but it would be a lot of connection points.
You would need to have, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Are there any at the top? 13, 14.
Yeah. About 16.
So 16 or, I don't know, I think that's 14, isn't it? 24, because it's on double-sided.
Yeah.
Oh, no, 22.
Both sides.
22, because those ones are, what's that? Huh. That's a lot.
I haven't tried it, but it should be possible. The amount of connectors doesn't really matter.
What's the most number of connectors you've had in one prefab?
Well, 3.
You haven't gone more than 3?
No. It's just a number, so the amount of connectors doesn't really matter as long as it doesn't change. You can't change it afterwards on the prefab. It will break existing wires.
So if you wanted, you have to do it from the start before you start placing them down.
Yeah, it's kind of a decision you have to make up front. But I think a lot of people will buy like telegraph poles and prefabs off the asset store. There's a bunch of them. So I see little reason to add like another connector to such a prefab afterwards. But who knows, edge cases.
Bit Game is asking, can you use the wires for rope?
Yeah, there is actually in the demo scene. It's super small, but I've also used it for like ropes between poles on a dock. You can basically make the wires look whatever way you want because there's just a material attached to it. I just noticed you don't have any trees. What happened?
Where's all my trees? Where are all my trees gone?
I should also turn on the post-processing and such. That's the button in the scene view next to the light. It looks different in 2019 now. It used to be like a frame with like a mountain in it, but now it's a stack.
Where is it? Oh, that's just
in the scene view bar.
Yeah, you don't want that in the scene view. You just want to click play then. You got a camera in here?
Mm-hmm. Should be set up. Just puzzled why there's no trees.
Why isn't a vegetation studio that you've got putting in this?
Why isn't it?
No, you've got Veg Studio, so all your trees and stuff is all driven through that.
Strange because it's no trees, no post processing.
What's chat say? Maybe chat always knows. Merciless Enemy says VS press play first. Yeah, it said the same thing as I about we press play.
Well, that's strange. It's the exact same project, but
and then
there's no trees and no post processing. And there's a pink moon.
That's because it's an alien moon. Push play and stop. If you restart Unity, it usually fixes it. All right? Like we said earlier at the start of the stream, turn it on and off again. I'm even going to say, turn it on and off again, and then it'll work. And if it doesn't work, we haven't had it off and on again for long enough. I've been married. Right, let's load up the demo scene again. This project. I'm talking about having it on and off. BitGamey says to Irish John, he had it in a hotel he was staying, so that could be why. It's out of context conversations are always dangerous to read back in chat. Irish John says he's not actually a fan of Guinness and he fears he could be deported for saying so.
Oops.
Dang. Sengoku is saying, what about something that swings at the bottom of the road? But we said that you're not having any physics.
Let's have one.
On your stringy bit.
If he means like something that's attached to like the center of the wire and also moves along with it, that's something I already started working on. It's going to be in a later update where I'm also adding support for repeating meshes along a wire, so you could add like flags or lights or lanterns or
nice
jungle vines or whatnot. But it's still prototypey. Later on, at least, because I also want to use it for like adding hanging street lights, which is very rural tiny 80s, which is what I need for the lake. Well, no trees, no lighting and fog and post-processing. Doesn't really matter too much because it's about the grass, right?
It is about the grass. What about Irish John saying that he loves your accent?
My accent?
Yeah.
Is it Dutch?
You know, that's the thing. I've got the Unity. Let me put down my audio on the mixer. Open the mixer. Let's put down Unity grass demo. That's better.
Yeah, it's my go-to birdie sound summary vibe library.
There we go. What's it? People at home can't. People at home, can you hear any audio coming out from Unity? Filters, properties.
I could hear it coming from you at least. Maybe through your mic. I don't know.
It's coming out. For some reason, it's coming out through the Yeti speakers. Not okay. It's bizarre. Whoa! No collider.
Yay!
I did not expect that in this interview I'll be checking colliders. You've made me happy. My favorite thing in the world, check for a collider. There you go. Thank you so much. Now, talk me through your grass shader.
All right. It's not the first grass shader I made. I made one for the Fantasy Adventure environment as well.
Yeah, but you were 12
texture,
when you did that one, so...
Yeah, it's quite a long time ago. And over the years, many people expressed their interest in just buying the grass from that package separately, but it's not something I can do. If I sell stuff to people personally, I just have a lot of tax work to do, and it's just a nightmare. So people just have to pay the full price for stuff they don't necessarily want. And I always felt that if I were to just take the grass out and offer it as a separate package, it would kind of be a low blow to the people that already own the package, because I would just make the grass in the fantasy adventure environment I would stop updating it and I would just focus on this new thing. And it didn't seem fair to me. So I always felt like I needed something to make it so vastly different or so much better that it would justify a separate package. And with the coming of the universal render pipeline and HDRP as well, it basically meant that anything asset store publishers made in the past, it would just be obsolete. You can't use it in these render pipelines. It basically means you have to start over. So it was both a curse and a blessing, because it meant I had to start over, but it also meant that I could do things differently or better. And I started out as making the shader just as an experiment to use shader graph, which I hadn't done before. And at first, I wasn't too impressed by it. It's just missing all these things, and this doesn't work, and interface is kind of. And gradually, as the shader started progressing, I was kind of enamored by it. Like, okay, this could work. This is quite awesome. And by the end of it, I had it finished, and I was pretty confident in shader graph as a whole. It did work properly, but usually for Unity assets, it's more beneficial to offer a handwritten shader because you have more control over minor optimizations. And since these things are going into other people's projects, I want to make sure that what I'm offering, what people are paying for, is going to be the best they can possibly get, similar to hiring a shader programmer for their project to make something exclusive for them. Granted, there was a lot more work converting everything and writing it by hand, but it did pan out. So in the end, the shader is pretty similar to that in the fantasy adventure environment package, but the wind it's so much better. It's so much more lively and organic, and the grass, if you were to take a single grass mesh, you could actually see it bend rather than skewing as well. And of course, the entire grass bedding system is implemented. That's something I made a few years ago, but just never used it. So I ported it over here and made it as complete as I could possibly do. You can actually go into Vegetation Studio and you can play around with wind settings, see how it's built up. Because it's essentially built up out of multiple layers.
Just trying to make you, trying to flatten it down and play. If I roll, how do
I don't think you can.
It did, it flattened it when I rolled, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't my imagination.
Yeah, you can see it flatten. Yeah, it's not so
Yeah.
prominent because the grass isn't that high. And there comes a point where if you make the grass bender too strong, it just pushes the grass down through the floor and you're just left with like a bare underfloor. So it's kind of tweaked until that threshold, so to speak. But the bending in this case for the character is done through a spear at their feet, which just always bends it away from the player next to a trail renderer, which just leaves a trail as she moves through the world. But there's also, you can also do the bending through particle effects, which is pretty interesting because you can create, you can tie it into like your player actions and make like explosions that blow the grass away from the player, or you could even use particle effects to simulate wind as their particles are moving through the world.
Oh, nice.
This is Vegetation Studios bending thingamajig, but it works entirely separate.
Is there a conflict? You'd have to turn theirs off if you want yours to work?
No, they're totally separate.
We've got questions in chat. Can we go scene view and game view at the same time for the shader? But game view, what do you want me to click on? Is this different from the fantasy adventure environment grass? Yes, it is, what you said. But you're going to be doing version 2 of your fantasy adventure environment. Or not?
Where did you see that?
We had a question in chat. Are you going to be doing a version 2? And I'm like, that sounds like cool.
Oh, that's so tricky because like November 2018 or something, I announced that I would do that and create like an entire new demo scene because of the one I made in 2017. It's quite alright, but I think I could do better now. But I so regret saying that because
It never
November
happened?
2018, I got distracted by other things that were just more interesting. And was just gnawing at me that I had to finish like this entire revision of the package because I promised people. So I just removed the mention from the documentation. And
Oh, dang.
there is a bright side to it because the flowers you see here, like all the plants, they're basically revised versions of the one in that package. They're more high poly, they have leaves and such. And that is something I'm porting over to the fantasy adventure environment very soon.
Okay, so you're giving them something.
Yes, at least something.
Now, when
But
you
the tricky
removed the
thing
comment,
is-
uh, did you leave like any Easter egg apology behind to like those people who knew that their comment was once there, like like a rotting corpse of a message, or?
No, not necessarily, no. It's just difficult because it's such long-term planning, and I get distracted by other projects so easily.
Oh, cool. And Sanjo saying yes, you did, and we're waiting for it. Oh man.
Oh,
There you go.
I'm so sorry. I hope my explanation was sufficient. It's difficult because I do want to make a better and larger demo scene, but I suppose what you're seeing now is kind of a testimony to as why that isn't possible with just vanilla Unity. It's just very restricted for large open landscapes with lots of vegetation. You basically need something like Vegetation Studio to make use of GPU instancing and calling and all those things in order to render a lot of things. And I could make a rather extensive environment scene, but my worry is that it would basically run pretty crappy, and people would relate that to me basically. Then I'm offering something that doesn't run very well, and it's not a very good calling card. So it's difficult to do, because if an environment artist or anyone would make an open world landscape, they wouldn't be using vanilla Unity tools. It's just too restrictive, too limited. So I'm not sure how to move forward with that. Maybe just make something smaller, but to me that kind of defeats the purpose, because I just want to make like a tiny open world kind of landscape to really show everything off in its full blossom. Maybe I'll come to a solution someday. Who knows?
We've got Sengoku about the rope question. So he's posting again. He's saying he's saying that for the rope, there's something at the bottom of the rope. A rope is at the bottom of something. Sorry, and something hangs out the bottom of the rope. Mm-hmm. So there is something. From that something is a rope, and from that rope hangeth something.
Hangeth, all right. Well, currently you can't have a rope connected to like a point and have it hanging down and swinging. That's just because it has a lot of implications for other systems. But someone did mention wanting that, and it's something I'm just going to look at some point. It's most likely possible. I just have to figure out how to keep everything intact. If that were to work, then the mesh attachment thingamajig I mentioned earlier, it would just basically work with that as well. But for now, it's something for the future. It's like on my to-do list for features. If I were to work on something, it would be that at least.
Cool. There you go. There you go, Sengoku. You're a happy badger now. Give me a badger emote in chat. Sanya's saying, don't promise it'll be a free upgrade. That's a tricky thing to do.
Oh, but it will.
Don't make promises.
No, but I don't like doing the paid upgrade thingies. It's just I see it as more of like an added benefit. You purchase something like a few years ago, you paid money for it, other people paid money for it, and to me, that sort of revenue pays for future upgrades. So it's sort of a situation where everyone benefits. And it's logistically, it's a lot more difficult to make upgrades because you have to manage separate packages, and it's just a nightmare. So for me, it's just easier to make upgrades free in the future.
Talking about logistics, you said earlier something which was very interesting. The tax implications.
Yeah.
So when you you're young. You're putting your first asset on the asset store 2016 while you're in school / college. At that point, were you doing it as a sole trader, individual in your bedroom, not a registered company, tax registered? I mean, let's not go into too much. I don't want to get you in trouble with the tax man.
No.
When you get arrested and stuff. But
I'm on solid ground in that case. But I was already registered because I was doing some freelancing things. But taxes for the asset store is basically a non-issue because the revenue you get paid is without taxes. Unity handles all of that per user, so it's not an issue. But if
sorry, what do you mean? So
Jason
you're selling. You've come up with a potato art asset. It's a lovely potato. It's got 10,000 vertices, and you're selling it on the asset store for 50 quid. Right?
50. Okay, generous.
Right. And what do you mean that the Unity handle the tax stuff?
If Eric from Brazil were to buy the package, which is listed at $50, he would pay $50 plus whatever tax people charge in Brazil. And the tax he pays over that's going to Unity. And Unity, whatchamacallit, they register it with Brazil and they do all the complicated stuff per country or per union and such. But the publisher, they just get the $50 minus 30%. So it's excluding tax. So what you're getting in your wallet doesn't have anything to do with tax, fortunately.
So then all you have to worry about is you registering it as income.
Yeah. I basically don't pay any taxes except for invoices I send for freelancing, which is quite nice.
That ain't bad.
No, it's a good deal. I mean, Unity is $1 million company, and we're paying 30% of our revenue, so they should at least do that much, right?
I refuse to comment.
Well, I'm glad they're doing it for 30% at least.
So how hard was it to get started on the asset store as a publisher?
You mean in terms of getting users to buy your stuff? And
not the whole process. I mean, you're there. You've got a 50,000 vertices potato, and you go on Unity and you just fill in a form. Are they allowing? You have to prove that you're a person of good character, of good standing, or they're just like, yeah, come on, give us your asset and we'll stick it on?
Nowadays, you do have to have a portfolio with relative work, like at least 3 pieces. But before, you could just register. And of course, once you submit an asset, it still has to be approved. And some things get declined because, well, if you submit a potato with 50K vertices, they're just going to say that's not optimized or up to our standards.
Well, you would think that.
It depends on who's reviewing it, I suppose.
Okay, let me try to see if that really, because that's a true. I'm not making it up. That was a true asset.
Really?
Yeah.
A potato. Turbo potato.
Are they all gone? All the turbo squid stuff's gone. No, it's still there. It's still there. It's still there.
I never knew they sold on the asset stores as well. Those are usually not game ready assets.
Thank you. There was a beautiful guy. Let me find a link and stick it in.
But was the potato $50?
I think it was like 100 and something. What was it? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hang on 1 second. Where's the Unity? I feel I did this while I might have been a bit drunk.
It sounds like a conspiracy theory.
There was a It was pretty bad at one point. So I made a video saying the evil Turbo Squid Unity Asset Store scam. And I made a poll on the Unity forums. And I think, where's the page? I took the link down for it. Oh, I got 2 dislikes only. Oh, cool. I would have thought I got a lot more. But it was pretty terrible. Here we go. I'll pause this here. So, just to hijack the interview, just to show what the asset store was like. 2018. So we've come a long way. Since then.
Is it like 6,500 vertices?
Okay. It got 6,500 verts, 13,000 tries for this Brody helmet pose 1. Then the same helmet is upside down and the same helmet is on its side. Now you could argue that the strap now, because it's hanging down as opposed to being upside down, is different. And you're like, okay, why you wouldn't have that as in the same asset, 2 versions of the strap? Fine. But the door, like Sanyo's saying, the door was my favorite one. Let me see if we've got a link, if there's a second on there. Here it is.
In every different state, a different asset.
Exactly.
That's ridiculous. How much is it? $12
$12 a door.
each?
$12 a stage. But
So
my
you pay like
my
$100 for
favorite
the
is
bird.
this one here. It's door 06, knob 03, open. This one is door 04, knob 02, open. Door 01, knob 01, open. This is door 02, knob 01, open. And then you've got a jar, closed. Like, oh my word. So, given that was a couple of years ago, now as you're putting your assets on Unity, are they a little bit stricter with accepting things that are going on? How long is it taking you to get one of your assets on the store?
You mean in terms of development time or like
Publishing and accepting?
It pretty much always takes between 3 to 4 weeks. It's almost like clockwork for new assets, at least. And sometimes you get decline email, but once you fix it and submit an update, it doesn't take 4 weeks. From there on, it's only the very first version you submit.
Wow, Alone Wolf saying he remembers when, or they remember when, don't assume agenda. Alone Wolf remembers when Unreal 4 first went public. They didn't have an asset store, and they had an employee from Unreal make a video showing how to export a Unity asset into Unreal. But I had to take it down because it was against terms of service.
Is it?
Now that's the thing. If you buy and Unreal give a load of free stuff every month away on their store.
Oh, from Unreal to Unity.
Right. So if you take an Unreal asset from the Unreal store, you can't use it in Unity.
Yeah.
Unless you've purchased it for the rights to use it in Unity, I think. And likewise, you can't just get your asset from Unity and stick it inside Unreal.
No, I'm pretty sure from Unity to Unreal is allowed. You don't specifically have to use it in Unity. You can use it in, I don't know, Maya or any other application. But I do know from Unreal Engine Marketplace to Unity, or at least like the free stuff they handed out, like the Paragon demo and such. You can't use it.
Yeah, their free stuff is licensed just for their engine.
Yeah. Makes sense. I would do that too.
Yeah, exactly, Gilda. We're saying the free stuff. We're talking free. But you can't use the free stuff from Unity and put the free stuff from Unity into Unreal.
No.
But you can buy the Turbo Squid 50,000 vert potato down from one kit to the other. I'm pretty sure you can use the potato. So Goku's saying, would be like if Aquarius Max would sell one model with texture 1 and then the same model with texture 2. There are some people that do that. There are some people that do that on the store. So I'm running around with your grass. I should have had the actual stats on, but just running around, it is very smooth and lovely. So without Veg Studio, how much are we piggybacking off Veg Studio with the grass shader, and how performant is it without Veg Studio?
Well, the grass shader itself, when attached to a mesh, it's not doing very groundbreaking stuff. A lot of it is vertex animations, which are close to cheap because vertex positioning is happening anyway. So if you do something before that process or afterwards, it doesn't really matter much. But what Vegetation Studio is very capable of is rendering large amounts of the same mesh through GPU instancing. And I did take note because I'm pretty sure that when people buy it, not everyone's going to have Vegetation Studio. So the documentation does explain what kind of methods you can use to draw grass. But if you were to use the Unity's terrain system, it hasn't been updated in like a decade. So that's not going to be the best choice.
They're updating it now, aren't they? They're making changes to it.
Not that I know of, no. I asked around to unite so many people, but just it doesn't seem to be on their radar. It's really something where Unreal Engine excels, but Unity is just lacking behind. It's crazy because it's so outdated. It's basically not usable.
Oh, we were playing. The other thing that makes me most sad about Unity, we're playing Outer Worlds that's made with Unreal, and the amount of objects that are in that scene that you're looking around, it's phenomenal. And how beautiful it looks. I was standing on the hill looking down, kind of like you've got with Veg Studio, but magnify that by like 1 million, and it's just roaming hills, objects everywhere, things going on, and you look at it and you're like, I'm getting an amazing performance. Why can't Unity do that?
They can, but just not out of the box. I'm convinced you can do anything in Unity, but a lot of things comes down to making stuff yourself. For Lake, for instance, that project wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have run without custom solutions. And there's still, every month, I'm coming across things that need like some sort of custom implementation in order to draw large amounts of objects at large distances, the right objects at the right time, but still getting a lot of performance out of it. And I'm quite all right with that because I enjoy doing it, but it does take, and those are things Unity could create systems for themselves. But I don't know if you've seen the Megacities demo.
Yeah,
they showed some time ago. That stuff, that's really where Unity is going. Because they're essentially using streaming technology that's been applied in many games for a lot of years now, and they're incorporating it into the entire DOTS ECS ecosystem. And it basically means that the version of the game that you're editing, like moving around objects and placing them, it's not going to be the same version that's running in the game necessarily. It's going to be a much more optimized version. But the beauty of it is that the conversion happens automatically. And I think it still has to mature. I haven't played around with it. I do know how it works in broad lines. But I think you can expect in 1 or 2 years to become the de facto standard. And as long as they're wrapping it up in an easy to use interface without much user interference, then I think people will be able to do a lot more cool stuff and bigger stuff, just like the Megacities demo.
I looked at the I was watching the videos, let alone playing with the demo, and watching them talk about it and how dots work and all the stuff. And I was so excited about, I'm going to be doing this in 2020. I'm going to be making all my projects using this. And then the reality hits you and you step back and you think to yourself, okay, we're not there yet.
Hmm.
And
No, it's still pretty early.
And it's the same conversation. It's like we have at every Unite where they did the kinematica, and you're like, they said, "Oh, this has already been in development. We've had the people from what's the name of the game, guys in chat?
World of
The
Warcraft?
For Honor. That's it. The For Honor developer who made the For Honor stuff came over to Unity to work on that kinematica, and they said it's done. It's this is a video showing it in use, so it'll be available 2019 as part of Unity, and then they kind of like vanished and disappeared, and nobody was talking about it anymore. We even had Kanamis in chat who was working on his own similar system. When he saw that, was like, well, there's no point in me working on mine anymore because Unity are doing theirs. I wish that he'd carried on doing it, and hopefully he still is. And one day his might come out, because I honestly think it'll probably come out before theirs does. And I'm worried about Dart's ECS when it's like done and there's a line under it that it's properly completed and not changing all the time like HDRP, that we're going to be in 2022.
Oh, for sure. That was my expectation as well. It's gonna take some time. And I think if anyone wants to make their own solution and perhaps dump it on the asset store, I personally have a preference for third-party implementations over Unity stuff anyway, because hobbyists and professionals, they can move at just so much faster of a pace than Unity does, because they're not held back by bureaucracies and higher levels and QA testing and all that stuff. So I would say go for it, for sure.
How much of the stuff that you did in Lake is third party? How much is it yours, and how much is native Unity? If you're going to say percentage. So if you said like percentage of how much of the stuff is native Unity from the Lake.
Ooh, well, that's difficult to say because, of course, it's built on Unity, so a lot of it is native. But
when we say native, something that you didn't get another tool or build another tool to change the functionality or your base.
Well, of course, there's like dialog system, which is literally called dialog system for Unity, and some lip sync asset. These are things I don't concern myself with. I just know that other people are working with it. But we do use World Streamer to stream parts of the world in and out. And that's basically very obsolete technology compared to the megacities technology. But, that's what we have to work with. But basically all the shaders and everything, they're custom. Kind of ports from the fantasy adventure environment, tweaked, took stuff out, added stuff in, those sort of things. But I think the main contender would be World Streamer. That's still a core part of keeping the game running, essentially. And Vegetation Studio, of course. Vegetation Studio Pro. We wouldn't have that much vegetation without it. That's a given fact.
Are you using Pro or the non-Pro version?
Pro, yeah.
You got a question here. Do you plan to add more assets that you've made from the Lake onto the asset store, like you did with the wires?
Well, there was the lighting system. It's kind of tough luck that that the post-processing effects don't work in your scene, because I actually have
share your if you share you on Discord.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you got the fancy version, the fantasy version of Discord, because it is just a fantasy.
Fantasy.
Let me close my Unity. I'm gonna say don't save.
On how I can use my glorious 10K resolution.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna let that lie. I'm never gonna forget you like loving that English Guinness, and yesterday when I said to you, "Oh look, I've got 10K Discord."
What does it even mean, 10K?
It's the future, baby. It's the future. We've got another question. Who's doing the characters in Lake?
Well, we have a 2D concept artist. Well, essentially, they're written by the writers, of course. But we have incoming Dutch name Sonja van Vuren, who works these characters out like as the way they're looking. She writes the concept art and creates like model sheets. But we're very fortunate to have interns that work on character art. These guys are crazy. They basically come in, it's like, oh, I want to have an internship. I want to have a job in the games industry one day. But within a week, they've proven themselves to just be. They could get a job right now if they wanted to. At least that's the way we see it.
Whoa,
But,
hang on. Whoa, wait.
I'm waiting.
You getting free labor?
Well, they do get a compensation and they do get an internship.
How?
And something
Interns are great.
portfolio.
They're doing work and you're not paying them any money. That's fantastic.
I didn't say we weren't paying them any money.
I thought interns, you don't pay interns. That's the whole point of an intern, is that they come in and they make cups of tea. And
I don't know. I don't really consider that fair because they have rent and they want to buy nice stuff as well, and they're putting 40 hours a week of their life into it.
Dang.
So the least you can do is, cover their travel costs and video game Discord Nitro subscriptions and those sort of things. If you can afford it, at least, would be nice.
So, you got the development. And what did when I went on Steam? What was the name of the company that your Lake developer is? How do you pronounce it? Gamius.
Yes.
So, hang on. Let me go back onto chat. Here we go. So, Gamius. You've got. This is your team of 10 people, you said, or is it?
Yeah.
Started off just 2 of you. You said, wasn't it?
Yeah, but we both didn't work for Gamius. We're essentially freelancers or contractors, I guess you could say.
Okay, so it's not that you are Gamius with like a couple of people and you're making all these games. It's that you're working for Gamius as part of the team.
Yeah, it's like a third party. I actually did my internship there with them and worked on another project as well. So when they rang me up and said, we want to make like a relaxing game set in the 1980s in Northwest America, it involves a lot of trees and stuff, I was basically sold. Like, sure, sign me up.
So a game dev team of Dutch people making a game set in 80s America.
Mm-hmm.
How much research does that involve?
Well, I think I know one person that has actually been to Oregon, but we basically have we're kind of in love with like the whole 80s vibe, like Twin Peaks, for instance.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a heavy influence. And that's something we all share. So we have a lot of gut feelings and reference materials to work off. But we're not actually Americans, of course. So we're just basing it off what we've seen on TV and the kind of pictures we like. So far, it has panned out. And people that live in Oregon, they have said, like, wow, that really captures the Oregon vibe. So I'm really happy to hear that.
Oh, cool. Brilliant. Well, I give you like words of encouragement. GTA. Yeah, GTA. Very American, obviously. GTA.
Mm-hmm.
Made by English people. In England.
Rockstar is English?
Yep.
I was convinced they were American.
No. I was actually going to go work in... Well, say Rockstar's English. I was going to go up and work in Scotland for the guy who actually... The original... the daddy of GTA. And then didn't, and the company closed down, so I'm glad it didn't. So, yeah.
Well, GTA is very much like...
it's very American now,
American?
I was going to say. It's very American now, but yeah, very stereotypical
yeah.
comedy
like
view.
Pop culture reference kind of.
It's a comic book look of American life.
Yeah. I mean, I like that. It's relatable. That's how I know America as well, from movies and TV shows.
Man, this lake looks lovely. Is there any plans for the characters from Lake with a slight variation to be sold as separate?
You mean for the main character?
Or any of the characters that you've got in the game to be available?
No, I don't think so, because basically the character it involves writing and voice acting and animations as well. So if we're going to make more characters, we're most likely going to focus our efforts on conceptualizing and modeling and animating the characters we have in the narrative.
But you wouldn't sell them later on. That's a tricky thing. Like, you make a game and then sell your characters, and then other people, even if you've changed the materials and the characters slightly, and then you sell them, characters a little bit like if it's a main character, especially, like, oh, I've played that game with that exact same character before. Environment art doesn't really have the same effect. If you're selling a tree or a car or an oven, it's okay. That asset can be in 1,000 games. Nobody really noticed, but a main character, character art.
Oh, you mean selling, like taking the characters and selling them on like
Yeah,
marketplaces
exactly.
and such? Oh no, I think that would be detrimental. Like taking the lead protagonist of your game and basically offering it to other people to use it in their game as well. That would be a little strange.
Some people do it. Oh, it's John's doing a badger face. Are you okay? You share me your screen, and I'll see if I can show it to other people. I've showed you mine. Now,
stream quality. My 10K, it's gone. It says source now. It was false advertisement. That's too bad. Right, that works.
Big Kemi saying, "Or selling a rope bridge."
Well, the question was other assets I used in that project for the asset store. Before I skip on to this one, what can I think of? Nothing really comes to mind. There's so many specific things for that project that's just too specific to take out and sell otherwise. But one thing I did start out making, I think 2 years ago or something, was a day-night lighting system.
Oh.
I was using Enviro at the time, but it just gave off such a photorealistic vibe that it just didn't really click. And it felt very hard to tweak because you have these gradients that the sky processes throughout the day, but it was really difficult to pinpoint which exact color would be used at, for instance, like 6:30 at night. It would be somewhere on that gradient, but there were no like time markers anywhere. So I quickly started prototyping my own sort of system, which naturally started with like a time counter. But the way I'm approaching it now is that I have, where are you? Days, right? So each day, instead of just having one profile that it blends through, it has several preset profiles, which, much like Enviro, has like sky color, fog color, light color, color intensities, like all the things you basically need for setting a time of day.
Discord went really crisp, and I could read all of the text, and then suddenly all of your text turned into the UI text just looked blurry, as though it's the Predator.
I'll close this.
Maybe if let's see if I can try and increase my bandwidth somehow.
Right.
Discord.
So the way I'm approaching this is by creating for every time of day, like dawn, dusk, night, and noon. I'm creating these snapshots of the environment.
I've just paused the video from the
streamer.
Yeah. So let me just try and see, because I can't read the text. If you click on the little share screen thing on your Discord, on the little cog, do change windows.
The cog just pulls up my voice settings.
Yeah, why can't I go back? No, the change You go, that's it, and then check stream
That's
quality.
720p.
Go to 1080. Click 1080. There you go. All right,
That's weird. I thought I clicked that.
that's all right. I
It
forgive you.
does look clear.
I forgive you. You're forgiven. Now you go. Now I can read. Oh no! Now I can read again. Yeah, we had it for a second and I lost it, and it's back again. Cool.
Yeah, it looks crystal clear.
Well, I wouldn't say the crystal, but
Yeah, good enough. It's not 10K, but that's quite alright. So what I was talking about was that every day has like these presets that it blends between on a given time, like a blend in and blend out time. And what I really like about that is that I can, for instance, right now I'm tweaking the dawn profile, and I can determine exactly what a dawn sequence would look like, for instance. So I could tweak the sky colors and what else was there, like ambient things, which basically duplicates the sort of workflow you have for lighting a scene as it would be as is. But instead of just having a fixed lighting, you can blend between these sort of artistly tweaked lighting profiles. For instance, this was dawn. Oops, wrong one. And I'll just show how it looks like in a second.
and you're going to be packaging this as your own asset and selling it.
Well, that was the intent, but
Because
it
people in
turned out
chat
to be
now
so-
are excited. Just going to cut you in because that was the intent, but before you finish that but there's a demand for this.
Well, I'll get to it in a second. It looks weird here. The fog doesn't work in scene view. It's just a thing. There we go. So this would be like the sunrise profile, and it's just something I can tweak individually as is. And when I actually the lighting thing, it's going to, where's the status window? You can see here as well, it goes from noon to sunset. As I scroll through the time, too fast. It goes from noon to sunset. So right now it's at full sunset, and then it goes to dusk, etc., and eventually to night. So what I like about this is that I don't have like these curves and gradients where I just have to guess which value corresponds to which kind of time, because it just says, oh, it starts at 0 and ends at 1. I don't know what time that is. But I basically decided against publishing it because it just seems like whenever I look at the forums for like Enviro and what are the other, Sky Master, it just seems like so much work because people have certain demands for it. It doesn't seem like there's one framework that just works with any kind of third-party system. It kind of dictates what your lighting is going to look like, and it just seems like too much work to maintain such a thing. So I just kept it for myself for the time being. But I might revise that later on. I may port it to the Universal Render Pipeline and make it specifically work for that, because other systems don't work for that. But there's also other stuff I'd like to work on, so who knows?
You would make a lot of people happy if you put this out there, and you can do the same thing that I'm going to do on my asset, where I'm putting a massive disclaimer, because I'm going to make my first ever asset, and massive disclaimer is, do not expect any support with this asset because I don't want to talk to you. Thank you for your purchase.
You can't do that. You can't do that. You're obligated to provide support.
Okay, I'm going to reword it then. Don't expect any decent support. You'll be given the support as any other person calling an English hotline.
And that's not too much, I suppose.
That's not good at all. That's why we've outsourced a lot to India, the call centers in the UK, because we're not very polite on the telephone if you call us up for support. We will tell you exactly what we think of your technical issue.
That you should
turn it off and turn it back
wisen
on
up.
again.
So it's exactly like the IT crowd.
Big Gaming says, no support. It will fly off the virtual shelves. Take Trader saying, I want muck. I offered my muck out. I offered my muck out to people.
What just happened? Because my Discord just shut down.
Yeah, I went to click on another thing and because making sure there wasn't a load of keys, asset keys on the chat. As we've had before, accidentally popping into a Discord chat and a load of asset keys being given out there. But, yeah, it's always good. It's always good to do that.
We wanted to do a giveaway.
We did want to do a giveaway. And let me get back into and share. Let me share your screen with me 1 second on Discord. And before you do that, actually, well, I've got an easier way of doing it. I will go into public chat on the channel. And Eternal One has joined. Eternal One, who keeps on creating as many Discord accounts as possible so we can give it a +1 in the Discord channel. Thank you so much, Eternal One. Really do appreciate that. Let me just, there you go. Now I've unticked. I need to learn the shortcut keys for OBS because I keep on having inappropriate tabs open.
You have to assign your own, right?
Yeah, you do. You have to know what you're doing, and
you have to label them. Yeah.
You have to spend effort and time learning how to use OBS properly. It's been 2 years and I still have done none of that. Big Gaming coming with a cheer. Yay for giveaways. Exclamation mark how to win in chat if you're new and you're wanting to know how to win. Lone Wolf saying get good then K bye. Hangs up. That's how we do on the phone. Yeah, get good. Bye.
Maybe I should preface this by saying that the stylized grass shader, as much as I wanted it, it wasn't improved in time for today. So whoever gets a key will probably get it next week, not right now.
When is the I mean, you were saying about how it's like clockwork getting on the asset store. So you make an update, you upload your update to the asset store, and then for updates, it's days or is it weeks?
Like between 0 to 4 days.
Really?
But not this time, apparently.
Probably because of the time of the year.
I don't know. Maybe next Monday. Who knows?
The raffle hasn't started yet. And everyone's just going to go raffle in. So what are we raffling then? Let's go to the...
Specifically, 3 keys for the stylized grass shader package.
So let's go to the chat. Hang on, where's my thing gone? Monitor. Here we go. Give me an exclamation mark SC water in chat. And everyone stop doing exclamation mark waffles, raffles, and ruffles. All right, stop with the Raphaels. Good, thank you for the SC water. Now, Stylized Water Shader, I like to remind everyone that Jim Staggart here made this along with the Fantasy Adventure and released it as his first asset on the asset store when he was still in school/college. It's depressing.
Is it?
It is. You're very for old and old.
I'm not the youngest one either.
How long did it take you to become a master of the shader arts?
I wouldn't call myself a master of shader arts, but I actually started writing shaders. Damn, that's so vague. I think the first contact I had with shaders was actually in Unreal Engine's material editor, and afterwards I used Shader Forge in Unity. And for school, we had these specialization terms where you basically get to pick a subject and expand on it in 8 weeks and give a presentation about what you learned. So I really wanted to, instead of keep using node-based editors, I wanted to actually write stuff and learn how all that works and be like my optimized best self. So I spent 8 weeks just learning how to write the most basic shaders ever. And much like programming, it super duper clicked. So I just kept doing that more and more. It's kind of like a snowball effect where everything you learn just keeps piling on. And once you're a few years away, basically anything is possible. It just takes time. It's definitely one of the favorite things for me to do is to make shaders and try to find the limits and push them.
Wow. And would you recommend people go straight into the new shader render pipeline if they want to be learning shaders?
I would actually recommend Amplify Shader Editor.
Really?
It's miles ahead in terms of usability, like hotkeys, and the interface is a lot more polished. And in terms of how far you can customize things and toggle things off, it has all the options you would ever be exposed to in a written shader, whereas Shadergraph, it's pretty bare bones right now. It's going to take at least 2 to 3 years for it to be completely fleshed out and up to speed with Amplify Shader Editor. Plus, let's just call it ASE. It also supports the render pipelines, so there's little argument not to use it, except that you have to pay $60. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a very good investment because it's very nice and easy to use.
We had some people, lucky people in chat, have actually won that on the stream. We've had Amplify a couple of times. They'll be on again in the anniversary stream that we postponed, that will hopefully be at the end of this month.
That's good for them.
Would you say that using Amplify actually helps people understand the logic behind shaders rather than just a WYSIWYG that does everything for you? Is it teaching you about behind the scenes? Then what's going on, all the magic, so that if you were to look at a raw shader code, you'll be able to go, oh, okay, yeah, I understand how to do that because I played about it with Amplify.
I think so, because when I started writing shaders, a lot of it seemed familiar based on what I did in ShaderForge. Essentially, of course, the multiply and the plus operators, that's pretty basic, but those are things you recognize. But I think so. If anything, if someone wants to understand how shaders work and how to best approach them in the best structured and optimized way, starting with a node-based editor, that's definitely not going to hurt. It's an excellent starting point. In that case, I would consider optimization secondary, and just getting stuff done and learning how all these nodes work together and what kind of combinations you can use. Experimenting with that in a node-based editor is 10 times faster than writing stuff out.
Jonan suggests it's good for learning general concepts, and if you looked at the generated code, then you'd be able to understand it a bit better. He's a massive fan of Amplify, and he's doing exclamation waffles in chat. Gildo says, in the same terms, you should be able to at least read shader code.
I think so too. The code that like Shadergraph and Amplify generate, it's kind of hard to read because they make a variable for every single thing you do. So you have to backtrack a lot and dot like lines and stuff. But what I did for the grass shader, for instance, I made one specific item from that shader and then checked out the generated code. So I could just see that part of the shader I was looking for. That really helped me. Otherwise, it's just waning through like hundreds of lines of stuff named variable 0, 1, and 2.
When are we going to get the new render pipeline version of the water?
It's something that's on the table. Some people have requested it. It's unfortunately not something I can do for this shader because I can't just convert it and leave the legacy version behind because thousands of people already use this.
Well, no, you'd obviously sell it as a second asset on the asset store, because there's people that want one version, and other people would want the other one. Make a bit of money.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. possibly even offer it as an upgrade. But I'm kind of torn because now that I have the chance to create a new water asset, my standard for it is so high that it just seems like so much work, because I'd want to do the waves with like the job system so we can also use buoyancy as well. I'd want to create this whole system where you don't need the depth texture anymore, because that's the number one issue on mobile devices. So I could create a shader, this kind of water shader for the render pipeline, but it's difficult to release like a version 1 of it and then just drastically change everything one update later. So it kind of creates the pressure to do everything right at once.
No. Come on. Now you've got me really excited. And I'm a guy who doesn't really like touching the new render pipeline stuff because I don't trust it. But now I want it just so I can use your new version. Now, Jim Staggart, you need to make a shader for this in Unity.
Like a grape explosion.
A grape explosion. Now I say that because I know you love a challenge. Do you know how I know that I know you love a challenge?
Because I suggested it.
I'm gonna go to over here to Jim Staggart's Twitter page. If you don't know Jim Staggart's Twitter page, here it is. He's got here a script that creates a circular arch or spiraling cinemachine path needed for a turntable shot. Just loves a challenge. And then he's got the aura blah blah blah. How do you pronounce aurora? Blah, blah,
Aurora.
Blah. That's it. Oh, I see. I can't. That's
Aurora.
I can't say my R's. Aurora. Damn it. Damn it. Aurora. Aurora. Boya la 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 la. So here we go. How do I make that big? You can't make it big.
Oh, that's the old one.
Man, I hate that you can't make it big. Is that the new one? You can make the new one big. There we go. And you were on holiday and you saw the Aurora Borealis and you're like, I want to make this in Unity.
The other way around. I'm going to Iceland in 2 weeks. Like 90% chance I'm going to see it. But I'm pretty sure once I see it, I'm just going to analyze it as like, how does it work in terms of like shaders? So I just wanted to be one step ahead of it, do it now, and then try to do it again afterwards.
So it's not that you're making it now in Unity so that if you don't get to see it when you're really there, you're not sad that you haven't actually missed it because you've seen it anyway.
I haven't even considered that. I'm basically assuming that we're going to see it. It's going to be a new moon, so the chance is quite high.
Oh,
but
cool.
We'll see. I'll be super disappointed if I don't get to see it. It's a long way to Iceland.
When you go to Iceland, apparently their chocolates are supposed to be amazing. A colleague of mine brought them back. I thought they were disgusting, but everyone else in the entire world seems to love them. There's some weird licorice flavoured sweets that the Icelandic people like.
Licorice flavoured sweets.
Yeah. And normally I'm a fan of licorice, but these were vile, I have to say. Sengoku's writing down. Sengoku, it doesn't help if you write it down. I can't pronounce them. But I appreciate that you've written both of them down.
Aurora?
I didn't know about the Aurora. I can say Australis, but I can't say... You know the words I can't say. There's no point me even saying them again. This would be cool in a VR headset. Put a VR headset.
Possibly, yeah, like 360 video.
Hope you've enjoyed yourselves. I think, you know what? I'm gonna depress myself being a Unity developer. I'm gonna load up Outer Worlds that's made with Unreal and play a bit of that now after this interview and see how beautiful a game is using Unreal. And if you're hanging around and watching the stream, you can analyze the game and how in your mind you would make that in Unity. I'm pretty sure that of all the people that we chat to, without any doubt, Staggart Creations could make something as beautiful as The Outer Worlds with Unity and even sell it on the asset store. Mate, thank you for coming in.
This warms my heart. Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you for having me. It was a blast. And now, honestly, I desperately have to pee. I've been dancing in my chair for quite a while now.
I thought you were just excited to be here.
Both.
All right, pal. Have a fantastic night. I hope you have a good sleep. Thank you for coming in, and I'll catch you soon. Take care.
All right, thank you. I bid you adieu.
If you want to see more of my crazy videos, click on the left side of your screen now, and down below there's that big juicy subscribe button, and right next to it is the magic bell that if you click it, it will tell you if I've got a new video coming out. Till next time.